let's start with Team Finland. And if you're watching us on YouTube at Tip of the Ice-Burgh, we're going to bring these lineups on, or bring them up courtesy of Daily Faceoff. So Team Finland, first line, Teuvo Teravainen. Second line, Teuvo Teravainen, Alexander Barkov, and Patrick Laine. Second line, Arturi Lehkonen, Sebastian Aho, and Mikko Rantanen, who says he is going to play. Third line, Mikael Granlund, Rupe Hintz, and Capo Kakko. And fourth line, Eetu Luosterainen, Anton Lundell, and Joel Armia. Now, Finland is a team that is dealing with a lot of injuries, specifically on the back end, but they still line up like this. Esa Lindell, Olli Mata as the first pair, Juuso Välimäki, Henri Jokiharju as the second pair, and Nico Mikkola with Urho Vakanainen as the third pair. Horwat, any thoughts on Team Finland as they get set for the Four Nations?
They're kind of screwed. Those injuries really did them very dirty, to the point of Vakanainen's played, I think, 33 games in the NHL, 22 of them coming this year, or something like that. Which is unfortunate because this is one of the top hockey countries in the world. It's just unfortunate that they lost three key names on the defense in the names aren't coming to me right now. I know Rasmus Ristolainen was the most recent one. Yanni Hakanpää, who hasn't played a game all season. Oh, no, he's played two. Sorry. He's played 2 games all season. He really shouldn't have been on the roster in the first place. And Miro Heiskanen's the big one. So regardless of, those are 3 big names to lose, regardless of what I think about Hakanpää and his situation. Those are 3 big names to lose, and it doesn't help. I mean, UC Saros is a great goalie. He's their starter. He's having a bad year in front of him, but I don't know how much that's going to help in this situation. We'll see where it goes. I think Finland quickly turned into oh boy, you're finishing 4th, aren't you?
Well, here's the thing. Finland historically has always been a team that plays better than the sum of its parts. Like, they're one of the better teams when it comes to being able to outperform expectations in a lot of these tournaments. You look at last year's World Championships, Finland made some noise. This is a team that, as a whole, just plays a style that can keep up with other teams. Now, of course, in a lot of those World Championships and a lot of those World Juniors, it's not best on best, and you're not going up against literal Godzillas when it comes to some of these other rosters, as we'll get to, but it is going to be an uphill battle. They are going to have to play near perfect to be able to get into that championship game. And then, once that happens, it's one game. You never know what can happen, but it's going to be an uphill battle. Like we mentioned, they're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel due to some of these injuries. And I think, like you mentioned, the biggest one is losing Miro Heiskanen. I mean, that's probably, outside of maybe Alexander Barkov, that's probably their best player that they would have had on the ice in the Four Nations face-off, and to lose him is just unfortunate. Let's get to Mike Sullivan's Team USA. Again, lines courtesy of Daily Faceoff. Kyle Connor, Jack Eichel, and Matthew Tkachuk on the first line. Former Penguin Jake Gensel going to lace him up with Austin Matthews and Jack Hughes on the second line. Matt Boldy, JT Miller, and Brady Tkachuk on the third. Brock Nelson, Vincent Trocheck, Dylan Larkin on the fourth. And then let's go to the defense pairings here. Jacob Slavin with Adam Fox. Zach Werenski with Charlie McAvoy. Noah Hannafin with Brock Faber. This is an absolute stud of a lineup. And the one thing I'm going to look at immediately, Jake Gensel with Austin Matthews and Jack Hughes. That line is going to feed families, Horwat. That line is going to be, I understand we can't replicate Team North America in the 2016 World Cup of Hockey, but that line is my Team North America for this tournament.
Did you see the tweet of how many Team North American kids are on their respective America and Canada teams?
I mean, it makes sense. That lineup was absolutely insane, including like McKinnon. McDavid was on that lineup. I believe Dylan Larkin was on Team North America back then. So
Another key name that was on it was Connor Hellebuck, who is anyone going to beat this year? I mean, no one's beaten him in the regular season yet, and now you're strapping the United States flag to him. That's going to be another tough one on top of what is already, you look at this offense, it's already frightening. I mean, you have Austin Matthews as your second line center. Are you kidding?
Yeah, and you have 2 Tkachuks who are in a short form series or a short form tournament are just going to rain terror on everybody.
You'd hope. And I mean, Kyle Connor being on the first line, I have no problem with that. He's a very sneaky goal scorer. I do still have issues with Brock Nelson and Vincent Trocheck being here. It looks like Chris Kreider's the extra man in this situation.
Yes.
That checks out, honestly, for the season he's having. And the issues aren't necessarily like personal. Brock Nelson and Vincent Trocheck are great players. I just think there were better options. But I get it. All four of these teams looked and wanted to add a little bit of depth because it is a short form tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to add depth, Brock Nelson and Vincent Trocheck are absolutely incredible pieces to use. So good on them. Connor Hellebuck's their starting goalie. Jake Ottinger is their backup. I forget the third one. Jeremy Swayman.
Yeah.
Who not having a great year. So, but looking at this lineup, this could be one of, obviously there's only four of them, so they're all kind of the team to beat, but this could be a frightening team for anyone to pick as a favorite. I get it. This is a very good standout team. Everyone just needs to click on all cylinders at the right time. Looking at you, JT Miller.
Yeah. He was given a much bigger role in New York. He was told, hey, just be our top line center. At least here, he's a third line center, and the top two are Jack Eichel and Austin Matthews. So worst comes to worse. It's not like Mike Sullivan isn't used to having to just roll out his first and second lines way more than his third and fourth. So he could always just fall back to what he does with the Pittsburgh Penguins. But no, I like this lineup. And again, we've been talking since the initial rosters came out on December 4th. Team USA looks really good, especially on the back end. And I think that's where they have the most advantages. They're going to be the best team defensively. Maybe Finland because that's just their style, but Team USA has the names. They have the horses, and they certainly have the goaltending. So they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Let's get to the two teams that have current members of the Pittsburgh Penguins on them, starting with Team Sweden, who has an interesting lineup, to say the least. Philip Forsberg, Elias Pettersson, and Adrian Kempe on that top line. Second line, Rickard Rakell, last name in, second line left winger. I like what I'm seeing here. Alongside Mika Zibanejad and William Nylander, Jesper Bratt, Joel Eriksson Ek, and Lucas Raymond on the third line. Then Victor Arvidsson, Elias Lindholm, and Gustav Nyquist as your fourth line. Look at the deep pairings. You have Victor Hedman, Jonas Brodin. You have Rasmus Dahlin and Rasmus Andersson. And then you have Matthias Ekholm and third pairing defenseman, Erik Karlsson. Horwat, we have Karlsson on the third pairing, Rakell on the second line. What do you think about Team Sweden?
So I think for what it's worth, I think the lines are going to be flipped all around as in terms of first, second, third line stuff. But as you look at it on this page, I do want to focus a lot on Rickard Rakell and just say if he can play well with guys like Mika Zibanejad and especially William Nylander, we know he can already play well with Crosby. We know he can play decently with Malkin. It's just been a while. He can balloon his trade value in this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It's
already very high. Let's not get it correct. Let's not get it incorrect. He is probably going to be, if made available, the top or one of the top two trade targets available at the deadline,
if not into the offseason. This is what I'm sort of focusing on here. If he can prove that he's more than just a one-trick pony and that the Sidney Crosby effect. If he can play well with William Nylander, if he can set up William Nylander quite a bit in this tournament, and maybe find something out of Mika Zibanejad who's having a bit more of an off season, then again that can just add to the here's so much more that he can do. That trade value is already really high, but it can just get higher in terms of what team needs him not only for this playoff run, but maybe a couple more down the road because of the contract. That's going to be huge for him. I think he could last man in, sure, and then immediately put into the top six. Immediately put into a lineup that immediately put into sharing a line with William Nylander.
Yeah, those two together, they're both guys that whenever the puck's on their stick, it almost feels like there's a magnet attached to it because they can just stick handle in a phone booth. Zibanejad to a lesser extent, but certainly William Nylander and Rickard Rakell are going to be out there doing some Harlem Globetrotters crap in Montreal and Boston over the next week and a half.
Yeah. The rest of the lineup's pretty standard, especially for Sweden. You're going to need a lot from Elias Pettersson, who hasn't had it this year, and same with Philip Forsberg with Nashville. I think that, maybe playing for the Trade Kroner can do that. Maybe that can wake them up a bit, at least for this tournament. On defense, stout as ever, but also very much a I'd say this is a great two-way lineup. All 6 of them, 5 of them, can play both ends of the ice. Sorry, Karlsson. We know your defensive game. We've discussed it
Yeah,
1,000 times.
not sneaking up on anybody.
Yeah, but the two-way games between Hedman, Dahlin, Anderson, Ekholm, this is a tough defensive group. No matter what way you pin it. So I'd say, I mean, this could be one of those sleeper choices. The goalies leave a bit to be desired, but can still get it done, especially if Ullmark just finds the rhythm at the right time.
All right, let's finish it off with Team Canada. Now, this, I'm going to warn you and everybody watching, this is going to just absolutely blow your mind because it's Team Canada. And whenever we do best on best with Team Canada, things like Sidney, Crosby on the second line tend to happen. So this is Team Canada for the Four Nations faceoff as of yesterday's practice via daily faceoff. Sam Reinhart, Connor McDavid, and Mitch Marner is your top line. Mark Stone, Sidney Crosby, and Nathan McKinnon is your second line. Brad Marchand, Braden Point, Seth Jarvis is the third line. Brandon Hagel, Anthony Cirelli, and Sam Bennett is the fourth line. You look at the defense pairings, Devon Taves, Cale Makar. They just throw the Colorado guys out there. Josh Morrissey with Colton Parayko, Shea Theodore, and Drew Doughty. Goaltending, of course, is the big question mark for Team Canada. But as Brad Marchand said yesterday, on the power play, I'm not sure how you stop it. Maybe throw 3 goaltenders out there and say good luck, because the power play 1 unit was, I believe, McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby, Makar, and I'm missing one, but it doesn't matter. Mitch Marner, I think it was.
Sam Reinhart.
And Sam Reinhart, who just, I don't know, put up 50 goals and won a Stanley Cup last year. This team is absolutely ridiculous. And, of course, the big news was, is Crosby going to be able to play? He missed the last 2 games for the Penguins before the break. Yesterday after practice, Crosby said that he is good to go and he will play. No game time decisions for Team Canada. He will play on the opening night of the tournament tomorrow against Team Sweden.
Don't take penalties against this team.
Nope.
That's it. That's step 1 of your game plan. Step 2 is, okay, now we have to deal with everything else on this lineup.
Yeah.
This is an unhealthy amount of skill. I mean, McDavid, Crosby, Point down the center is unreal. There's a ton of meat on that fourth line, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Hagel, Cirelli, and Sam Bennett. I mean, you got Sam Bennett there to get under everyone's skin. Have fun. You're taking penalties against this team. The game plan is, I mean, first of all, I kind of want to see Sam Bennett and Brad Marchand share a line. And just because, and just see every other country's head explode. But that's just the depth. The top line's skill is unreal. Crosby playing with McKinnon is going to be the most exciting thing. I think a lot of Penguins and Avalanche fans and Paul Bissonnette have been waiting for so long that they're finally going to get to see it. And I think it will be extremely entertaining. No matter which line it is. Mark Stone isn't going to be there as a passenger either. He'll be clearing space for those 2.
Yeah.
This team is unreal until you somehow find your way past the forwards and the defense and you realize you have a sieve in net. Because Logan Thompson he's going to be the definition of that Phil Kessel tweet from Team USA in the World Cup of just I feel like I should be doing something right now. Can't quite tell what it is.
Yeah, no, that was the biggest miss, I think, of the entire Four Nations face-off. Logan Thompson might win a Vezina if not for Connor Hellebuck being
in the conversation.
Yeah, it'll be 1A, 1B right now. I think Connor Hellebuck is 1A, and I think it might come down to who has more wins, because both of them are vying for the President's Trophy. But no, this lineup is absolutely insane, and I agree with Marchand. There's no way to stop that power play. There isn't. Crosby and McDavid sharing the ice in a meaningful hockey game for the first time in their careers. It took way too long to get here, but we're here, and that's why I say if you're not excited about this, I'm not quite sure how much of a hockey fan you really are. You might be a Penguins fan, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're a true hockey fan, you're going to be excited to watch these guys take the ice. So a lot of interesting things happening with the lineups on all 4 countries, all 4 nations, I should say. But here's what you need to know about the tournament itself. It is a 3-game round robin where a regulation win nets the team 3 points. An overtime or shootout win nets you 2 points, and an overtime loss nets you 1 point. Overtime will be 10 minutes long, and then they'll go to a shootout. And the leading teams, when it comes to points after the round robin, will play in a 1-game championship on Thursday, February 20th at 8 p.m. So it should be a great tournament, Horwat, and that's why we close out this discussion with our Four Nations face-off predictions. We got 3 predictions to give you. Let us know in the comment section what you think is going to happen over the next week and a half. Most points, I told you that second line on Team USA is going to feed families. And I have been alluding to the fact that I was going to go this way with my hat this entire episode. Arizona hat, Arizona boy, Austin Matthews is going to lead this tournament in points.
That's a fun answer. I was thinking about that. I was considering it. But there I'm going to have to just go in a different direction. I'm just going to jump into Connor McDavid. I mean,
yeah.
You can't deny it. You can't deny Connor McDavid. You're giving him a short tournament to win something. Good luck stopping him, period. Especially if, like I said, Brad Marchand and Sam Bennett are out there just drawing penalties left and right. That's going to be a power play machine. Mm-hmm. It's going to be hard as hell to stop Team Canada. It's going to be hard as hell to stop Connor McDavid.
I'm gonna kind of just read the writing on the wall here for you. Your tournament MVP prediction is probably Connor McDavid as well.
Yeah, it's 2 easy answers.
Yeah,
I mean, or at least there's softballs there. I didn't put much thought into it. It's one of those things you don't really need to, though.
Yeah, it's almost like the free space on a bingo card.
Yeah, it's like picking who's gonna be your top point scorer in the early '80s. Well, Wayne Gretzky. I mean, is there anyone else even in the league right now?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, there's plenty of star power in this tournament, but again, it's Connor McDavid playing with Mitch Marner, who has been feeding Austin Matthews all season, most of the season because of the injury, but has been unreal as well. So he's just going to be feeding McDavid now. This is going to be an unreal couple of games for Team Canada. Mm-hmm. So I got McDavid as the MVP as well.
All right. Now, with that in mind, I'll say this. For the tournament winner, I think this was case closed for me yesterday. The second Crosby said, yeah, I'm good to go. So once he said that, Sidney Crosby doesn't lose in international play, especially if he is the captain of Team Canada. This might be the 3rd or 4th time that I've referenced this, but according to the Sidney Crosby archives on Twitter, he is 21-0 as captain of Team Canada. I don't think that ends. I don't think that stops. They might lose 1, but they're not losing the tournament. They're just not. They're going to make the finals, and once they're there, I'm going to pick Team Canada every single day. So I think that team is a cheat code. I know all these teams are dream teams, are best on best, and that's the point of the entire week and a half tournament. But Team Canada is a cheat code, and I don't care who's in net for them because they're going to outscore all of their problems with that power play unit and those top stars. So Team Canada is my winner with Connor McDavid winning tournament MVP. Austin Matthews gets the most points because, well, I think he's going to go off for Team USA, and I just think that Team Canada has more mouths to feed, if that makes sense, when it comes to the score sheet.